And good morning, America, my beautiful America. I am Eden Gordon Hill, and welcome to Common Sense America. We have a great show for you today. It is Monday. It is October the 17th, 2022, and I am here in Chester County, Pennsylvania. I am up here for the week, enjoying family time, enjoying the beautiful harvest, and gathering together with family and friends. And in the meantime, I am bringing some amazing guests to the show this week. We're going to be doing some political conversation, of course, news of the day, of course, talking to you candidate features as we head into just 21 days until midterm elections. Yes, 21 days. So without further ado, we are going to be bringing to the show this morning at just about 9:05 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be bringing Dr. Linda Lee Tarver. She is running for State Board of Education from the state of Michigan. And yes, Michigan is one of those controversial battleground states, and that is for sure. So she's going to be breaking down the state of education, the state of affairs for our nation, and also women of faith and women in leadership. And she is that. Just that. So thank you, hashtag the GOP Voices, Women Voices, for your support for this show. Thank you to Beaufort County and Eastern North Carolina Now. Thank you to Defenders Live radio stream for carrying Common Sense America. And thanks to all of you on Rumble, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on all the social channels. Thank you for those who are tuning in this morning and who are watching the after shows. I'm grateful for your stories, your encouragement. I'm all about God, family, country, and that is what this show is about. I also would like to share with you that I had the honor to be at the 247th U.S. Navy birthday ball on Saturday in Falls Church, Virginia. And not only was it an honor to be invited to this birthday ball for the United States Navy, but I was able to sit with not one, but two POWs from the Vietnam era. And one of them was Everett Alvarez. He was one of the longest POWs in Vietnam. And he and his wife Tammy were basically my dinner partners for the night. And what a blessed time to be with them. And then also to my left were my other dinner partners, and they are with the Blue Angels Legacy Foundation. So I want to give you a heads up as we head into the veteran holiday, which is right around the corner. I am going to be doing probably at least a week-long tribute to our veterans. So actually, Ev Alvarez will be joining the show along with the Blue Angels Legacy Foundation. I'm so thrilled to have just two phenomenal guests come to the show for Veteran Tribute Week. Also this week, we will be doing some specials. Yes, I'm here in Chester County. Yes, I'm here in the land of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, where you have Oz, you have Fetterman, you have Oz, you have Fetterman. They are neck to neck looking at the race right now, says the Washington Post Legacy Media. And then you also have Guy, you have the governor's race, you have the congressional race, and then you have the state house race as well. I'm going to be tapping into what's happening here in Pennsylvania while I'm here. But hat tip to Mom, Dad, and my friend Sasha, who are going to be joining me as we do some harvest specials. At special request, you wanted to see me try and attempt to make an apple pie. Well, we're going to be in the kitchen with what I call my Hungarian Mamma Mia, and we're going to be doing some harvest specials this week as we head into also the Thanksgiving holiday. We're going to be doing some family treats as well. So corn mazes, pumpkin patches, apple picking. It's a little off politics, but I think we all need some family time. We all need to remember what we're here for. And I'm grateful to be up here in Chester County, Pennsylvania with family and friends for this week. Also, just as a reminder, we are 21 days until midterm. So we are doing specific candidate features. And I am so thankful to have it here this morning. Thanks to Michelle Odom, who's a very dear friend. I am bringing over to the show this morning, Dr. Linda Lee Tarver. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's so great to have you. Welcome to my family's 1800s home here in Pennsylvania. I came up here for the week to be with them. And so I'm in one of my old offices with all my old political paraphernalia between
I love
Sam.
it. I love it.
I have Trump, I have Palin, I have Bush Cheney. Nobody hit
I
me for
love
saying
it.
no.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, well, I'm so glad to have you here as we do focus on the candidate series. And as we head into 21 days until midterms, I'm in Oz and Fetterman country. It's a little
Oh,
scary. It's a little scary being up here in the Commonwealth with some of the crazy things that are coming from this Senate campaign, the Senate race. But I know for you being in the great.
there's no low enough for some of the liberals out there. There's no low enough. So it is something else. I've been called a racist white supremacist as a black woman. So if
Oh
that
my
gives you
gosh.
any, oh yeah. There's no new material available. So I'm good.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's talk about the state of Michigan. You were running
Yes,
for the State Board of Education. And one
yes.
of my favorite things I saw in one of your YouTube clips was spectator versus gladiator. And you are
Yes,
that gladiator. You're not going to be a spectator on the sidelines. You are going
I
to
can't
engage.
any
So talk.
longer. Yes, I can't any longer. And I think that we're seeing parents and average citizens. It was not on my radar to run for office. I retired after 34 years with the state of Michigan. And I started a political consulting. So this year was going to be my year to consult with other candidates to get them elected. And the Lord told me to go to Nineveh. So I decided that I was going to go to Nineveh and be obedient and tell people, look, we need to repent as a individuals need to repent for their views on education and what we're doing to children, especially in our public schools here in Michigan. It is a tragedy. And so I took up the mantle. I cannot be a spectator any longer. And so I'm not going to sit idly by and allow for just me and mine. My children were raised under schools of choice, thanks to Betsy DeVos and her family, and I'm grateful for that. And they graduated with academic honors, and so for me and mine, it was great. But I cannot be satisfied with me and mine. I can't be a spectator while others and their children are suffering under this tyranny that we're having in Michigan. I call it the People's Republic of Michigan at this point, given what the governor has done since 2020 and in what liberal progressives have done to our school systems systematically over the years. And that's what we're seeing. 60% of our children cannot read here in Michigan. And where I live in Lansing, Michigan, 92% of all Black children are not proficient in any subject, not at all, in Lansing, Michigan. And, they're doing studies to find out that they're failing. And they want to reject those studies. They're not picking them up. And so when you see people of color, Black and brown families saying, look, there's some systemic racism, I want to say, look, there's systemic liberal racism. Because you gotta put the liberal Democrat in front of it so that people will know that there are no Republicans in charge of these urban school systems. They're not. And the progressive and overreach of the puberty blockers the push for LGBTQ agendas, the transgender policies that they're pushing for, the lack of quality education. They're pushing for social emotional learning rather than just basic reading, writing, and arithmetic. And so we're coming in to bring just common sense. This is not a magic wand. Slaves learned how to read. People learn how to read. Who built the space shuttle? We put men on the moon with just people who were in a one-room schoolhouse. I received a quality education during busing and integration. That's when I went to school. I was bused, and I integrated an predominantly all-white school. And so for me, you would think during the most racially tense time of our country's history, the civil rights movement where they were burning down Detroit, I would have received a substandard education, but I received an education that was quality. I have 4 degrees as a
Mhm.
result of a quality education. My teachers did not look at me based on the color of my skin. They
Yes.
taught, and they know that during some of the public school issues that we're looking at, they're
Yes.
packing them in like the Middle Passage. You've got 30 kids in a classroom when you
Mhm.
should have much less than that.
Yes.
Half
Yes.
of that. We have to right size classrooms. And, these educators and superintendents, they know that these packed in classrooms, sardine types of classrooms, are
Mhm.
not doing it. They
Mhm.
want to get the enrollment up, but the quality of education goes down. And they're
Mhm.
putting it on parents. They want
Mhm.
to indoctrinate. And mine
Yes.
is to educate and not indoctrinate.
Yes, yes, I love that. As soon as you go straight to your website, I absolutely love your website. I'm going to put it up here for people to see. It is lindatarver.com. And as soon as you go there, it is, I am here to educate, not indoctrinate. I absolutely love that. A couple things about you for our audience who are tuning in and watching. You are an election integrity expert. You are a national speaker. You are an author. You are a businesswoman. You are a counselor by many rights, and you are in the field of education. And how many, you have 2 doctorates? Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, I have a doctorate in education and a doctorate in theology.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Yes.
what a powerhouse. What a powerhouse that you as a woman of faith, you as a woman in leadership can lead such by an example of what you were doing in the state of Michigan. Because frankly, if you look to the governor, that is not a leader. Where is she, by the way? I mean, everybody wonders where she's at right now.
She's
I mean, can you?
welcoming Barack Hussein Obama to Michigan because she's in trouble in the polls. If you look back at Glenn Youngkin, the other Democrat that was running, they brought in. But what they didn't do is they didn't take care of the children. They didn't take care of the extremes in Virginia, and they lost that to Glenn Youngkin and Winsome Sears. And so they're bringing in their top guns, the liberal elitists that promote
Mhm.
abortion and killing babies in the womb, and not realigning education. And so they're still on abortion, but they're still pushing pro-death initiatives and policies, and that's what they're hanging their hat on this year is pro-death policies.
I have to say something. When we were talking briefly just a second ago about Obama, the feed went quiet. I could not hear
Okay,
you. And
right.
and I just want to say that because I'm on live stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Rumble, and I can't imagine. I know that they are, going in and playing around with that. So just for anybody out there, we are looked at as extremists. And they are trying to censor our conversations. So I'm
Yes,
putting that out there. Those who are support, we have a huge audience for this show, and so we are going to push this conversation out as hard as possible because it needs to be heard.
absolutely.
Let me
What I
also.
said about President Obama is that
Mhm,
he's coming into Michigan to help a failing governor,
mhm,
and that is
mhm.
what he did in Virginia last year. They brought in as many guns as they possibly could, but the people voted in Glenn Youngkin and Winsome Sears to lead
Yes.
their state, and we're looking for Tudor Dixon and Shane Hernandez to come and lead our state with
Mhm,
common sense solutions. Tudor Dixon's a mother, a cancer survivor. She's pro education, pro family, pro
mhm.
business, pro gun, and pro life. And so that's what we're looking at
Yes.
right now. Those and pro building our economy. She's got steel in her spine. She's from the steel industry, and so
Mhm.
she is doing a wonderful job here.
No, that's fabulous. Let me ask you something with regards to the state of education. I had a couple conversations this weekend as I was traveling up from North Carolina to Pennsylvania to the Commonwealth, and I hear it in North Carolina in the Board of Education and the commentary. I hear it from the kids my husband and I mentor. Can you speak to what is going on with the cats and the dogs and the litter boxes having to be in the schools? What is that about?
So there is an ongoing trend on the left. And, I'm running as a Republican. I know local school boards are typically nonpartisan. And so in Michigan, for the statewide office of school board, it is a partisan position. And so we are looking at the partisan Republican versus Democrat and ideologies that don't mix well. On the left, you have those who believe that children can identify a gender that's different than what they were born with, different than their genitalia, different than what their parents even identify them as. And so in school, they have been accommodating gender dysphoria, which is a mental health condition. They've been accommodating gender dysphoria, but they've also been accommodating, and they will deny it, individuals or children who are identifying as animals, kittens or dogs. And so some schools have allowed them to do their pronouns as something different. So if you give it children who are not able to vote, not able to smoke, not able to drink, not able to make decisions, they can't engage in a legal contract, they cannot get a credit card. You ask children, 10-year-olds, do you want to be a girl today? They might say yes. Do you want to change your name? They say yes. So in school districts in Michigan and across the country, the liberal left has decided that they were going to allow children to identify whatever they want and to call themselves whatever they want. And so then they have extended that courtesy to these children to identify as kittens or cats. And so some have accommodated kitty litter in the schools. They're saying that this is not true. It is very much true. It is a few students that they have tried to accommodate, but it is coming down to a level of ridiculousness that should be stopped. And it has to be stopped by those who are gladiators. We need gladiators to step up, and the parents are stepping up and saying, look, no more. I'm not spectating. I'm not a spectator. I'm a gladiator. Parents are gladiators now, especially in Dearborn, where they're saying we don't want porn in our schools. And people are pushing for porn in schools. How to have gay sex is in the school district in Dearborn Library. They pulled the books, but they should not be requesting that pornography be an opt-out. An opt-out. That is what the school district is saying. We should have the pornography in, but you should opt out.
To what end, though? To what end? What are they benefiting from doing this and the destruction? Because we're going to have all these kids graduate, not know how to balance a checkbook, not know how to write cursive, not even know how to look in each other's eyes and have an intelligent conversation. So to what end are they wanting to destroy this country and the education?
So the socialist agenda is an agenda of taking minds and control. You saw it with the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates. That was one of them. And when you take away children from their parents, you have total control of the future. If you tell a child who has been given a name from passed down from their family heritage, that can change that name to something vile or pathetic at school, then you have disrespected the family and their culture. People place names of children, and they give their children names, but if they can go to school, at public school, and change it to something random that has been, given to them by one of their friends or buddies on the playground, that is a disrespect of the parents. And this is what Democrats are doing across the nation. They want to give puberty blockers to children with mental health issues called gender dysphoria. They want to do physical changes and mastectomies on healthy breasts of young girls. They want to do genital mutilation to young boys. They want to do irreversible harm to children as though they can make these decisions themselves. And waiting till they're 18 to make life decisions is not enough for the liberal left. They need to accommodate them and separate them from their families. And that is what Hitler did. Hitler did indoctrination to the end that it was against the families. No loyalties to God and no loyalties to country. That's why they can say that this critical race theory, you are a victim if you are black, you are an oppressor if you are white, and you need not to concern yourself because we're going to get you reparations. Well, I can tell you, Rod Page, the crafter of No Child Left Behind, says there's no reparations for a miseducation. There is none. You have an illiterate society if you continue to ignore the quality education and those things that lead to quality education. And the public school systems are not. Those run by liberals are not being able to perform the duties for which they are paid. And there's no repercussions to eliminate school districts that are underperforming or not performing at all. They're getting fat off of the tax dollars, especially the COVID tax dollars.
Yes.
$50,000 per child in the city of Flint. $50,000 per child in the city of Flint. And I'm still waiting for the tutors that are promised, that were promised for these children. They could have had a one-on-one tutor for each child in the city of Flint at $50,000 per child. And yet they're spending money like drunken sailors on things that do not matter and building up fiefdoms to themselves. Detroit especially, they're giving teachers raises. Teachers who are not teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic are receiving raises and bonuses. They don't have a teacher shortage in Detroit. What they have is a hot mess system. And there's no repercussions when you're failing children.
Let me ask you, I want to go back to what you said. You said 60% cannot read. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yes.
So
we're 38th in the nation. Michigan is 38th in the nation for quality education. There's only 50 states that we're measured by. We're 38. We're reaching up to touch bottom in our state in education. And somehow the current governor, Gretchen Whitmer, believes abortion is the number one issue facing families. We've got children who yes, abortion is the number one issue. They don't want to deal with the economy. That is pathetic. That is pathetic.
It's vile and pathetic.
Reproductive rights and gender affirming care. Please look it up. Reproductive rights and gender affirming care. They have some of these brain trusts that come up with how to make something vile into a very sexy slogan. Reproductive rights is what they're pushing, which is abortion. Abortion on demand, chemical abortions. Anyone can write the prescription. You can be a podiatrist and get an abortion, a chemical abortion here in Michigan under this proposal 3 that we're trying to defeat here. But they are disconnected from reality. And so when you're running against people who are disconnected from reality, from families, that's what's going on. We are 38th in the nation for quality of education, reaching up to touch bottom. We were in the top 10 years ago, but now we're 38th, Michigan. And it's unfortunate because we've received significant amounts of money to educate and to do academic recovery here in Michigan that we're not getting. We're not getting the results from the public education schools, and they're fighting against our church.
Talk to me about the campaign trail for you right now. Yeah. How is that looking? How are parents involved? Are they receptive, or are they just turning the heads, batting the eyes, and moving on? What does that look like for you?
We've got Concerned Women for America. We've got Moms for Liberty. We've got Moms for America. We have Stand Up Michigan, which is a huge organization with Christian, God-loving folks who love their families. Education is in the forefront. We've got mama bears out there, and we've got the papa bears. People are responding every place that I go. It doesn't matter the urban communities. I go into Detroit, or if I go into Highland Park, into Flint, into Saginaw, into Benton Harbor, Lansing. I am not changing my position based on where I go. You can go to the rural areas, especially the rural areas, who are not getting the services they need as well. The rural areas in Michigan and the urban areas have similar issues with respect to people who are not good stewards. They're spending like drunken sailors. And what we're finding is parents are saying enough is enough. Dearborn, Michigan, if you look at it, to remove pornography from the public school, the parents have had to come in hundreds, over hundreds, to expand the school board meetings to a larger facility, because the parents there are saying enough is enough. They're done with the liberal ideology, and they're no longer spectators of this. And so, you know, if you just put out and look at the Dearborn School District, we've had Muslim, Jews, Christians, and any other non-religious people, families that have children in the public schools there. And they pulled 7 books, which is full of porn, which is not required in your library. There's no law that says that these books shall be included. And instead of pulling all of the questionable books that depict and show anal sex and oral sex and acts that cannot be shown on public television, they decided that that parents should opt out of having their children get these books. Well, no, pull them all and stop the pornography. Pull them all, evaluate them all.
Can I just say, this is what happens when you take God out of country, out of schools, out of prayer, out of schools. You know, for all of those who don't believe in a God, and for all of those who don't have a faith, this is what happens. This is what happens. Your country, your school systems, your families disintegrate into absolutely nothing when you remove the love of God out of a family. And I'm calling it right there as I see it.
Call it what it is. You know, the Lord is not going to bow down to any of this. I preached a little short sermon in Alabama recently, and I said we're going to go from Ichabod to Emmanuel. Ichabod was when the glory of God left. The glory of God left the classroom years ago when we took away the power of prayer, and we took away all of those things that matter. We took away the basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, knowledge, morality, and we took God out. And that's when the glory of God left, Ichabod. But when the Lord has decided that this was the time for parents and for leaders to step up and speak for Him, I'm not taking on this cause.
Are you there? I lost you. I can see you. I just can't hear you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I am here.
Okay, you flipped.
Okay, let me get it.
Sure. Take a moment. You are good. In fact, I'm going to take a quick break. You stay right there, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back.
All right.
You good? Okay.
Yes.
We'll take a quick, we'll go right back at 9:31.
Okay. Yeah, I had to go on my phone.
No, that's much better. That's much better.
Good.
And we are back. This is Common Sense America. I am Eden Hill. Thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you also to Dr. Linda Lee Tarver for joining us. She is a part of our candidate series. She's a candidate for State Board of Education for the state of Michigan. And we had a question that came in on the break. The question was, the 60% that can't read that you mentioned, were they in that percentile? Were they graduates from high school? Okay.
From high school?
Yes. Are you there? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The 60% that you would mention with regards to the reading aspect, were they included in that percentile of high school graduates as well?
So what we're finding is right now that since COVID, there's a term coming out from the liberal left called equity. And in order to achieve equity, they're graduating individuals that cannot read and write. And so there are some children in the school district where I'm at that cannot read and cannot write. And so we're finding that the issue of equity has been placed on it. So yes, there are some that are not able to read and write, and they're moving children forward without the ability to read and write. We have a law on the books here in Michigan. It's called the third grade reading law. And if you're not able to read at third grade, because they know that from K through third grade, you are learning to read, and from fourth through 12th grade, you are reading to learn. And so we're having some problems with moving kids forward and retaining them because they cannot read. And so the ideologies, the political ideologies that we have is that the Democrats, they want to move children forward without the ability to read, and Republicans, we do not.
So let me ask you this, as we have 21 days until midterms, how are things looking for specifically for your race, and how are things looking to shift the state of Michigan into more of a conservative mindset and removing what is happening at the helm? How are things looking across the board for the state of Michigan?
Well, when you're looking at I think we're going to do well. I think we're going to do well in this midterms. We've been praying for miracles in the midterms, for the Lord to really place His hand back into schools, into homes, into communities, and our economy especially. And so we're looking for people who have the heart of God, who have common sense, and who have no other reason to run but for the betterment of our nation. And so that's what we're seeing running. And I'm laying my heart out there. I don't have any other agendas other than the education of our children and the protection of our children and the promoting of our parents, their rights to their children. And so we're seeing that across the state. It's looking very well. The message is resonating. I'm going across the state, talking to parents, and talking common sense. I don't have a radical agenda. I don't have any agenda, but for education and the results and proof and evidence of that education. Just common sense, talking about the issues that taxpayers do have a right to concern themselves with the quality of education, especially here in Michigan. We have business people who want to hire from a population that can't read. And so it's important.
Yes.
We have jobs that are available for skills
Yes.
trade and promoting skills trade here instead of
Yes.
the dead end, degrees on racial justice and equity degrees. We want to make sure that we have our plumbers and our HVAC and mechanics and people
Yes.
who can feed their families. And so that's what I've been talking about. And
Yes.
it has been resonating. I've been talking about unashamedly about our Constitution and the Lord. And what
Yes.
I've said to them is, look,
Yes.
we have a situation here where we have our Constitution, Article 8, Section 1 of our state constitution here in Michigan, says religion, morality, and knowledge are essential for good government and the happiness of mankind. And this is why education shall be forever encouraged. That's in our
Yes.
Constitution. Religion, morality, and knowledge, and it's being ignored. And so we want to just follow the law. Michigan Compiled Law 380.10, 38010 says that parents are in charge of their children's education and schools must cooperate with them. That's in the law. And so I've been sharing just basic, here's the Constitution, here's the law, and here's your rights. And taking back our education system is necessary. It's been put in the hands of those who have not been good stewards with it. It's been, your children are precious. The Word of God says children are an inheritance from the Lord. And that is true.
Yes.
They are an inheritance from the Lord. They are gifts from God. We've seen women pray. Hannah prayed for Samuel, and she prayed, and she received a child, a blessing, and she gave him back to the Lord. And we're not going to give our children to the wicked anymore, no longer, no more. And so we have to take back our schools. It's within our power and our ability. And we're finding throughout the state of Michigan, parents, regardless of background and regardless of political ideology. I talk to Democrats, libertarians, Republicans, nonpartisan, non-political people all the time. And they agree that we need to take back our state. And we need to take it back for our children, or we will not have any. We're reaching up to touch bottom right now. We can go up with good leadership.
Yes. Let me ask you, as you had mentioned something, you were talking to libertarians, independents, everybody in between, and they are saying now, I think Fox Business reported it yesterday, that you are seeing more and more of those vote Republican, vote for conservative values because of the destruction that lays at noonday as you look around in each state. And so that is, I think that's going to be a real turning point for these midterms. I really believe that we are going to see more of a red wave. I think I've heard other commentators say it could be blue. I don't believe that. In my gut, I don't believe that unless we talk about election integrity and stolen elections, and we could go down that path. What are your thoughts to the turn from midterms?
So I'm trusting God will do what he needs to do for his children. There are scriptures over and over and over again. We have had Jochebeds, these mothers who see the annihilation of their children and they can't hide them any longer. They've got to build an ark for them and put them on the Nile and let them go out. And they have, we've got midwives who, in that time, the time of Moses, I'm using that example, but midwives who refuse to kill children. They're not going to butcher the children. And so we've got teachers who are saying, look, I'm not going to teach transgenderism. I'm not going to get involved in the social emotional learning of trying to have them identify as a different gender. I'm not going to get into pronoun training, critical race theory, implicit bias training. I'm not doing that. But when the Republicans lead and when we take over education, those who fear God and trust him, when we take over, the parents and those teachers will come back into the education system. We need those teachers. We don't need woke teachers anymore. There's
Yes.
a local school district here that fired a superintendent, a good man, 10 years as a superintendent of this local school district near me. And they fired
Hmm.
him. They called him a racist because he said perhaps maybe George Floyd, if had he been practicing a good citizenship, maybe he would not have gotten into the trouble and maybe he would not have gotten killed. He didn't deserve to die. That's what the superintendent said. But maybe if we all practice good citizenship, we will not put ourselves in these positions. They
Hmm.
fired him, calling him a racist, ruined his life, ruined his reputation because of woke policies. And now they have to pay
Mm.
him close to $1 million because and restore his reputation. 2 years later,
Hmm.
and so we're finding these wokeisms. I told you
Yes.
earlier, I was called
Yes.
a racist white supremacist. They
Yes.
published that in a local rag newspaper here against me because I speak the truth. I speak the
Yes.
truth. I'm not
Yeah.
speaking anything that I'm making up or manufacturing. But
Yes.
people who have been marginalized, who've been canceled, it is their time to come from amongst them. And when you elect Republicans, we will not cancel you. We will
Hmm.
restore you. We will make sure that good quality educators are sought after and brought back. Because this climate of wokeism, liberalism, transgenderism, and all of the above is not
Yes.
working for teachers. It's not working
No.
for parents. It's just not working. And so what I'm going to do is just follow the law and
Yes.
follow the lead of the parents. And that's what we need to do. The parents lead the education for their children. And
Yes.
so we're finding that if you trust us with your vote, we will not fail you. We will fight for you, and we will fight for your children. And so that is what I plan on doing. I know the Republicans up and down the ticket, they're doing the same. They're doing the
Hmm.
same. They're
Hmm.
looking at the atrocities and things
Yes.
that have been laid waste, this education system. Slaves learned how to read. Slaves learned how to read. And,
Yes.
and I shared with them, and I differ from a lot of the liberal left. The
Hmm.
quality of your parent should not dictate the quality of your education. That
Amen.
that is the reality. But if you
Yes.
go into some of these liberal bastions, they will tell you if you're not connected with your children's education, if you don't have two parents at home helping you do your work and helping you do this and helping you do that, if the parent aren't engaged, then your child is not going to be successful. That's a lie. That is
Yes.
a lie. Your
Yes.
children should be successful. Whether you
Yes.
can read or write or not, your children deserve a quality education, and we're going to ensure that happens. And
Hmm.
so, we've been duped in believing that the quality of education is based on what I do at home, and it should
Hmm.
not.
Hmm.
When I say slaves learned how to read, they didn't have two parents and a picket fence. When Frederick Douglass learned how to read, we've
Yes.
got Helen Keller, blind and
Yes.
deaf, learned how to
Yes.
read. She got a degree, a college degree. We have parents and grandparents who are products of a failing school system. But we have an
Hmm.
example from Detroit. 13-year-old woman married a 28-year-old man. She had two kids, was left with raising two kids. She couldn't read and write. But her son
Hmm.
became Dr. Ben Carson from
Yes.
Detroit.
Yes.
You cannot
Yes.
tell me that those teachers who were teaching Ben Carson in his K through 12, his formative years, were less than, or they
Mhm.
were woke. They were not. They taught
Right.
him. His
Right.
mother couldn't help him, but they
Right.
taught him. He received a quality education with a background that would have been tossed aside today. But I'm
Hmm.
telling you, Republicans are not tossing children aside. We are
Hmm.
not calling winners and losers. We plan
Yes.
on educating all children everywhere, everywhere, every child. And they deserve a quality education, no matter where they come from, no matter their background, no matter whether they have parents or not. They deserve it. They
Yes.
deserve it.
Yes.
And we need
Yes.
them.
Yes. We're about 9:45 at on Monday, October the 17th. This is Common Sense America. And we've been speaking with Dr. Linda Lee Tarver, candidate for State Board of Education for Michigan, for this candidate series as we are just 21 days from midterms. So I'm calling it right now. People, get off your tuchus and get out there and vote. Educate yourself. Educate yourself on the candidates. Understand what is happening in your nation's backyard. We got a nation to save. We got school kids. We got school kids to save. We have education. We've got to save these kids from the wokeism, the authoritarian state. This has got to go. And we need more people like Dr. Linda Lee Tarver out there to be elected for State Board of Education, to fight for Michigan, to fight the next generation. You have that power, you have that voice, and women of faith, women in leadership like yourself, you are leading the way. You are the gladiators, you are the Wonder Womans out there. You are taking our country back, and we need more people like you. On that final note, do you have where can people help support your candidacy? Where can they get involved with you? Do you need help on the campaign trail? What can we do to help you?
So in Michigan, meet and greets are the best. If you want to come, have me in for coffee to meet your neighbors and friends. Those who have not voted already, meet and greets are the best. One of the things I'm trying to do my last minute push for a commercial. If you want to contribute at lindatarver.com, that would be awesome. I am doing a statewide office, and so I'm doing the air game and not the ground game. So I would love and welcome any contribution. Up to $7,150. So it's a statewide campaign. I would love to have any contributions at lindatarver.com.
Oh, well, I have
pray for me and pray for me and pray for me. Prayers are required. So prayers are required.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed, they are. I know we talked offline and comparing, being candidates for different offices and what that has been like and the journey. It's an amazing journey to be able to want to serve the public, understand the public, engage the public, love on the public, because they really need. I noticed post-COVID when I was door knocking, these people hadn't been talked to in years. And it's amazing what you will hear from people. You will hear the hearts, the very souls of what is going on with people in their neighborhood and in their communities. And we need powerful leaders like you to be on the front lines. So for all of those who are tuning in and who will watch this on Rumble later on or on any other social site, go to lindatarver.com. She is a candidate for State Board of Education for the great state of Michigan. I'm ready to see you take that state back, Linda.
Yes, we're going to take it back in the name of Jesus. That's what we're doing. It's the cause for which we are fighting, for righteousness, because righteousness availeth a nation. And so it is the right thing to do. We're all women on the right here, and for me, and we are doing the right thing for the right reason at the right time. So we're doing it for the Lord.
For such a time as this. And so when you are elected, I want to have you back, and I want to, let's break it down even more, and let's save the education for the state of Michigan. And I want to hear more and just really talk about what's next for our next generation. So I would love to have you back. I would love to have you back. You have a fantastic Monday, my friend. And many blessings to you, and we will be celebrating you on November the 8th.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. You too, my friend. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye. And for all of those who are tuning in, that's common sense. Yes, that is common sense. Amazing Americans like Dr. Linda Lee Tarver, common sense would say, the fact that these kids are not learning how to read and write, that they're being indoctrinated with this wokeism, this authoritarian state, pornography, learning how to be cats and dogs. Are you kidding me? And then you hear about the amazing story of Dr. Ben Carson. For such a time as this, don't be a spectator. Get off your tuchus and get on the front lines and be that gladiator. Yes, I'm in the great state of Pennsylvania. I'm here in the Commonwealth. I'm going to be here all week. We're going to be talking a lot about the candidates, what is ahead for the Senate races, what is ahead for this nation as we are 21 days until midterms. And also, in addition to that, we're going to be talking later this week. We're going to be talking with Young Voices. They are an amazing group that bring different commentators and contributors to the table. Tomorrow, we will be talking with Young Voices, and also on Thursday with Young Voices on two totally different topics. We are talking about federal intervention. Really, can you stay out of our pockets, people? And then we're also going to be talking a lot about what is ahead with the midterms. And, I am going to be reaching out to some of the candidates here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with regards to their local officials, local campaigns, state campaigns as well. Obviously, it's a heated race here in the state of Pennsylvania with I'm calling it Senator Oz. That's an interesting name. I like the ring of that. I don't like the sound of Senator Fetterman, though. That's just very scary. And if people are voting him in, we got a bigger problem. Anyway, as I continue, we also will be doing some home and family and home. I'm not going to take from Hallmark, family and home harvest. Cooking in the kitchen with my Hungarian Mamma Mia, and we're also going to be going out into the corn mazes and the pumpkin patches and the apple picking, a little bit of light home and harvest in preparation for Thanksgiving, and also getting ready for the holidays. And the holidays really consume us in so many different ways. We're going to be talking to authors with their children's books for the holidays. We're going to be talking with all different types to really just bring some peace, some joy, some hope to your homes this holiday season. On that note, I'm going to take a quick break and we will be right back. And we're back. It is about 5 minutes till 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It is Monday. It is October the 17th, 2022. And I wanted just to share a brief word with you. Some of the devotions I do in the morning are from the Proverbs 31 woman. And I just wanted to send out a word for you who are tuning in or who may have missed the beginning of this segment and just want to end and start their day with a devotional. I read Bonnie Gray. She has a newsletter called Breathe Newsletter, and I'm starting to follow her on Instagram. I get her emails daily, and I wanted to share with you the prayer that she is sending out for all of those who are tuning in. And Bonnie, thank you so much for what you are doing. She said, "Beloved, today when you feel anxious, stop and breathe. Feel God's peace calm your soul with his loving embrace right where you are. Jesus lovingly whispers, 'I am your hiding place. You can confide in me. I will surround you with songs of deliverance, my promise of faithfulness and peace.'" That is from Whispers of Rest by Bonnie Gray. She also said, here's the prayer for today. "Calm me, O Lord, as you calm the storm. Still me, Lord. Keep me from harm. Let all the tumult within me cease. And fold me, O Lord, in your peace." The verse for Psalm 32:7 today. "For you are my hiding place. You surround me with songs of deliverance." And that is from the Bonnie Gray at Whispers Forest. So, I would love for you to continue tuning in with us this week. We have a jam-packed week. Like I said, news of the day with Young Voices for tomorrow and Thursday. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Gavin Newsom vetoed California crypto regulations and invited even worse federal intervention. That is for tomorrow. And then on Thursday with Young Voices, we must rein in violent crime to help those who need economic opportunity. That was in the Chicago Sun-Times. So we're going to be talking about some pretty heavy news topics as we head into midterms, also candidate series, also veteran tribute series. So we have a lot coming down the pike, along with family and home features in the kitchen this week. We look forward to having you. Please send us your thoughts, your comments, any ideas, any guest suggestions. I love coming to you every morning with Common Sense America. We are on live stream on Defenders Talk Radio. We are on all social channels until we're censored. And I pray that that will not happen because we have a lot of things to say. And just like Dr. Mark Harris said on Friday with Family Research Council, we as Christians and those in the public square who are really standing up for our faith, we are tagged. We are penned as extremists, and we must not be censored. So on that note, get involved in the public square. Stand up, educate yourself, connect, engage your community, understand what is happening on your home front. I will be back in North Carolina next week. I will be talking with candidates who are running in and across the board, and we will be breaking down the issues, all things on the table, all things at the kitchen table. We need to talk about our education. We need to talk about what is happening with big pharma, what is happening with big media, what is happening with big tech, and is it in our backyards? We have a lot to break down and a lot to talk about. We have got this nation, a nation under God, and I believe in patriotism, God, family, country. We're going to be breaking it down. We would love your thoughts, love your comments. Please send us, text us. Whoever's got my number, text me. Send me your comments, your thoughts. I will also post them if you'd like them. We love having you here. I love coming to you every morning, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. Until then, God bless you. Put on the full armor of God. It's time to get to work. We will see you tomorrow.